welcome into another episode of From Corner Corner Podcast, episode 319.
319.
Sean and Daron in with you tonight, or this morning, whenever you were listening or watching this.
I'm here too.
And Jessica.
Jessica's over there.
She's on controls.
Pull your mic down.
It's not on.
It is on.
Oh. Hello?
All right, so we are back after Christmas break. Just had a good show with Miss Reaganoni. Now we're doing our Saturday show. And we're like, what are we going to talk about? I am so ill prepared for this. I didn't even think about the notes until like 4:30 today.
That's just unacceptable.
That's what happens when we take almost a month off. I mean, the last time we were here was the 16th.
Here's the problem, is the rest of us would just do, by the seat of our pants, but you have
I know.
spoiled us into coming up with topics that we have no idea what we're going to talk about.
I have disappointed myself.
And now we really have no idea what we're going to talk about because you didn't do any show notes.
That's
was sitting here reading show notes, and I see Durant Owens had 4 catches, and I'm like, that was 4 months ago.
I got it in my head. How was your Christmas?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. So
apparently Jessica don't agree with me. We're actually not done with Christmas. We actually have another Christmas.
You do realize that it is January 7th, right?
Well, the snow
Oh, gotcha.
postponed
Who's the Christmas you're supposed to be with now?
her family.
Oh.
So
Is that up there in the hills of eastern Kentucky?
No.
they're up there. They're basically Cincinnati people.
Oh, Cincinnati people.
Yeah,
Oh.
they're
We
snooty.
live in a van down by the
They're
Live in a
snooty
van
Ohio people.
Them snooty people live up there in a van down by the river.
Speaking of down by the river,
You like how I did that, didn't you?
nice little segue.
You're welcome.
I was going to save it till later. We'll talk about it now. So February 16th, SNL celebrates their 50th year.
Yes.
That's hard to believe because I'm going to turn 50 the same year SNL did or does. God, that makes me feel old.
Well, you can look at it 2 ways. You can say you have never lived without SNL.
That's true. SNL has been around my entire
And see,
life.
then you're no different than me or Jessica or Neil or Adam or Wes or any of us.
Right. Just because you're younger. Elizabeth, on the other hand, has lived a few years without SNL.
Yeah.
So I had this. I'm going to say this. We've had this discussion, me, you, and Wes, for a little bit about doing an SNL tournament of our skits or characters. Kind of feel like it's probably more of a character thing than it is a skit thing. But then when you look at more cowbell, is that a skit or is that a character? It's like it's really a fine line. So we're trying to work out the minute details, but we're going to do an SNL tournament, top 32, that will end on February 16th. The day that they celebrate their 50th. So we'll start this pretty soon.
About January 15th.
Yeah, so we need to get this together.
And it's going to be similar to what we did with the cartoon characters.
Yeah.
In that
We're going to break it down by regions.
By decade.
Yeah. So it'll be 70s, 80s, and then 90s, and then 2000s, and then 2010s up. Because 70s was only 5 years, so you what?
She made a noise over there.
Oh.
I thought you farted.
So that would be the. I think that'd be the way to divide them up that way.
Yeah. So, how would you divide them up, Miss Producer?
That's fine. I just think that the characters from the most recent years are sucky, so that's it.
we don't disagree. That's why we said 2010 on, because we're pretty much lumping them together. We're hoping we can come up with 8.
Yeah. I mean, you
In a
go back
15
and you
year
look,
stretch.
man. I tell you, it's going to be hard to narrow down.
Well, that's
Like-
that's the problem. Is
Yeah.
from 2010 till today, it's going to be hard to find 8 that everybody remembers.
Yeah. The
It's
90s.
not like,
Let's see.
we can't do like Donald Trump, and I don't think you can do that.
No.
But to find 8 specific characters,
Could
or
you do the
bits-
Nate Bargatze, George Washington as a character? Because I'm telling you,
Absolutely.
that is comedy
That is
gold.
one of the
It's because he's funny.
yeah.
So they almost didn't do that
But
skit.
he's
Did
not-
you know that?
He's not an SNL.
That's true.
Right.
Man.
member.
Now the other
He's
one,
a special
and I
appearance.
can't remember if it's something you sent me or something she sent me.
Is this
Yes, that is really on. Pull it down. You're talking. You might as well pull it down where you can hear. Just pull straight
It says
down.
pig hog. That's the same thing.
I can't remember if it's you sent it to me or she sent it to me. It's another Nate Bargatze on SNL, and it's it's a family sitting around the table.
Yes, that was me.
Oh.
You talking about the food challenge?
Yeah,
The burger challenge?
the burger challenge, while they're talking about what to do with Dad.
And then he goes, 9 minutes. And then the other one that he has done is when the dude dies at the top of the water slide. Have you seen that one?
No.
So him and another guy are they're paramedics, and they're at the top of the slide, and this dude has died, and they're talking about how to get him down, and he goes, "How many steps is that?" And the guy goes, 229. 229 steps. That's a lot. And I'm trying to think, how do we get him back down? And the girl goes, "Well, aren't you just going to pack him down?" Yes, that's what we need to do. We just need to pack him down. And she goes, "Well, I mean, I thought you were talking about," and he goes, "Pushing him down the slide." She goes, "I didn't say it. I totally get what you're saying. That's a really good idea. Let's think about this for a minute. Let's talk it all out." And they go all around this back and forth. And then they finally are like, I think we just need to put it to a vote. And so they all vote, and then they pan over, and you see all these kids down the steps, and they've all raised their hand to push him down. And the one guy goes, "Well, I mean, he can't go. We can't just push him down by himself." And Nate goes, "Well, I mean, I guess I could ride down with him." So the next thing you see is him getting on behind the guy, and then at the end, it's a picture of them coming through the tube, and Nate's doing this. I'll have to find it and send it to you. It is so funny. He legit is one of the funniest dudes.
Yes.
And he doesn't cuss.
He doesn't cuss.
Because I saw a TikTok with him and Kevin Hart and somebody else, and they were like, you don't cuss in your, what do they call him? When he does a stand up.
Stand up.
Yeah.
You don't cuss on stuff. He was like, "No, I don't." He said, "Because I needed to reach a lot more people than,
Yeah.
I didn't want to."
He
so they
he wants to
tried.
be a family guy.
They tried their best to get him to cuss, and he just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But
Have you seen his stand up where he talks about how he was raised in the 80s
yeah.
and that his parents were Christian? And he goes, apparently,
His
that was when
parents and
everybody
his
was
sister.
the most Christian. He said, because I was raised by Jesus. And he goes, my sister was raised by the devil because, she has a tattoo, and now my dad has a tattoo, and my mom's talking about getting a tattoo, and I guess they just raised their best friend. And then she goes, I'm 18, I'll do whatever I want. And he goes, well, I'm 28, and I still hide wine. so
like me and my sister.
yeah, he's so funny. So, anyways, not to get off on that tangent, but that's how these Saturday shows work. You just never know where you're going to wind up.
Especially when we don't have show notes to go by.
Who needs show notes?
Do better, Sean.
Hey, Neil and I never had show notes, And we put out some really good quality radio, podcasting, content. There you go.
Stuff.
Your content creators.
Right. When we got on the mic, we would create content and never knew where it would go after that. That's how all them Rushmores happened. Neil literally was the only one that knew what was on those wheels.
OnlyFans. It was such great content.
Gosh. Oh, Lord. So anyways, we're going to do that tournament. We're going to try to narrow it down to 32 and get that started, I guess, next week.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We'll have to.
yeah. So we'll do one a day until we get
We're
down
either
to
going to have to start it next week, or we're going to have to narrow the field down even more because we're going to have less people.
No, we gotta be at 32. There's no way we can go down to 16. So
I think it's going to, like I said,
if we start Saturday, maybe we could do some play-in games if we have to. So I don't know. We'll see. But it's coming. That's coming.
the round of 36.
Yeah.
To get into the round of 32.
So let's talk about New Year's Eve Card of Mania. You and Jessica came over to the house on New Year's Eve. We had some good food. And then we began to play a card game that would take you to the gates of hell.
You're welcome.
Pretty close.
It's called
I think it did once or twice.
Uno No Mercy.
Tested Jesus, didn't you?
It definitely will test the Jesus.
Jesus
in you.
was lost a few times.
I put it on Facebook and someone texted me and said, "Tell me about this Uno No Mercy." I said, "It will take you to the gates of hell." And they just laughed and they go, and I was like, "I can't even tell you."
We even talked to Reagan about it.
Yeah.
And she said, one hand of Uno, normal Uno, you should be able to get 4 to 5 hands in an hour.
Yeah.
We did 54 minutes and never even got past the first hand. We were well past an hour when the first hand was over.
The first hand game ended on the first go around.
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with the elimination factor of it, which I really like. If you haven't played, I'll give you some context. One, the biggest rule of the whole thing, if you at any point get 25 cards in your hand, you're out. And it's not a you're out, you win the hand. It's you're out of the game, right? Like you are no longer playing until the game is over.
You to get those 25 cards gets 250 points.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's 250 points on the board just there. There is a skip everyone card that is pretty handy. There are new additions. You've got, on top of your regular draw 2 and draw 4, you've got a draw 4 reverse card. You have a draw 6 card, and you have a draw 10 card. Now, the crazy part about it is all of these cards can be stacked. So if I play a draw 2, you can play a 4, or you can play basically a 2 or anything above that, and it continues to move around the table until someone cannot match or beat that. And whoever the last one is has to draw all of those total cards. And that happened
So
a few
you
times.
can draw.
I think Caitlin had to draw 20 cards at one time. I think she was the
put her
most.
out. She never got to play a single card. She got dealt 7.
Yeah.
She never got to play a
Because
single
it was
card.
the stack of all the draws all the way to her.
And when it got to me, I played a draw 10. Cassie played a draw 10.
Yeah.
And
Caitlin was out of
Caitlin did not have a draw 10. She had a draw 2.
Yeah.
But
so literally out.
So she
and
drew
never played a card.
20, which gives her 27, and she's out.
Yeah. What was the black card that what'd they call it? Like it wouldn't. I keep calling it the voodoo card when I tell this story.
I call it the waterfall.
The waterfall.
The emoji.
Yeah.
I called it the waterfall.
Yeah.
Because
That was just supposed to be an original wild card.
Yeah.
But
No, that's the one you have to draw.
The one where you play it, and then the next person has to guess the color, and then they have to keep drawing until they get that color.
Right.
That was the one that put out most of the people.
But they can't play.
They can't play.
And they can't
the
play.
color.
Yeah, that's why
they draw until they get that color.
That's why I call it the voodoo card.
Yeah, they draw until they get that
you.
color, but then they can't play that card. They still have to put that card in their hand.
Yeah, and that was how most people got out of the game.
Yeah.
Later in the game, because in the middle of the game, you can never shuffle as good as you do between games. Try to, but you can't.
Yeah. I mean, we reshuffled that deck at first game probably 5 times.
Easily, the entire deck.
Because that very first game, it come down to you and Caitlin. Everybody else had been eliminated.
Yep.
Well, in that first round,
and then that's when we learned that
had to learn the rules.
Yeah,
the first one took longer because we had to learn all the rules.
That reverse draw 4, when you play it and there's only 2 players, it plays back to you. You got to draw the 4 cards yourself.
Which we thought we were playing wrong, and then we read in the rules, and sure enough,
that's how you do it.
It's a screw yourself card.
Yeah. So it was pretty wild. We played that, and we played Uno teams. Both have their own thing. If I had to pick to play the game, I would probably play Uno No Mercy more than
absolutely
than the teams.
Yes.
The teams was fun. You could get a lot more out of the teams because we all played pretty close. I mean, it said that you're supposed to go to 500. We went to 250 because it was 2:30 in the morning, and Chase was mad because he couldn't go to sleep.
Army crawling out of the bed.
He was so mad.
And we were trying to be quiet. It just wasn't working.
Yeah, definitely not. So, but that was fun. Since then, Elizabeth has bought did she send you a picture of the giant Uno cards?
Yes.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're like a freaking 8x11. They're huge.
I told Jessica those are the Sean and Liz Uno cards because
you can't even hold them. I mean, they're so big.
I don't know how you shuffle them.
Heck if I know. You can't hold them.
You don't. You do that on the table.
Because I picked them up the other day to try to figure out how to. Like, can you just?
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
And then we she got Yahtzee. She was bound and determined to buy that.
I like Yahtzee.
Yeah, Yahtzee's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, college football down to Final Four. Does anybody surprise you there?
Not really. Other than,
Notre Dame?
I had Notre Dame maybe, yeah. I had Oregon from the word get-go winning and have pretty much rode that horse all the way, and then to see them get beat, that was pretty.
And it was a first half game. I mean, because they outplayed Ohio State in the second half, but I mean, they just got punched in the mouth, and I sent y'all in the text. Somebody made Ryan Day mad, because I've never seen Ryan Day call a football game the way he's called the last 2.
Yeah. And
it's almost like he's almost trying to shut up the Ohio State fans, I think, because it's going to be like one of those. Right. Have you seen you know the part in the movie of Dumb and Dumber when Lloyd goes and gets the scooter and trades the van in on it, and he comes back and he goes, just when I thought you couldn't do anything any stupid or any dumber, you go and totally redeem yourself. And I've seen that meme with Ohio State fans and Ryan Day.
They've been calling for his head ever since the Michigan game.
Yeah.
And,
But he got a great spot. I mean, he really did. I mean, Tennessee, if you look at their season, what's their quarterback's name?
Tennessee?
Iomaliava. What's his first name? Nico?
Nico.
Yeah. Almost all of his touchdown throws were before conference play. He did not really play well in conference play. They ran the ball well and they played good defense.
Right.
But throwing the ball, he struggled with that.
And that's kind of what happened to their season because
Yeah.
they were cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Until he kind of,
Yeah.
I don't want to say he fell apart, but
He'll
basically.
be better next year. They will be better in general next year. Texas escaped Arizona State. Cam Scatterbo is a dog. Dude, I mean, he was not coming off the field. I mean, he was something else. I don't think Texas. I like Texas's defense versus the Ohio State offensive line, but I don't know that their secondary can guard Jeremiah Smith. I don't know that anybody can guard him, honestly. Maybe the dude from Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame and Ohio State's headed to the championship game.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, Penn State's playing well. This is I think.
Penn State's playing well, but I think Penn State has made it as far as they can get.
I'm having a fart. Notre Dame's head coach, Marcus Freeman. I think Marcus Freeman just had his coming out game against Georgia. Penn State has done what they were supposed to do. They've beat the two opponents they were supposed to beat. We talked about it here on the show. They had the easiest path to the Final Four. Can James Franklin finally win? This is a big game. You know, can James Franklin get them to the championship game? And if he gets another shot at Ohio State, can he beat them? I'll be honest with you. I'm rooting for anybody other than the Red. I don't care if Notre Dame wins it, Penn State wins it, Texas wins it. I'd rather it be Penn State or Notre Dame. I'd rather it actually be Notre Dame. But I don't know that Notre Dame can throw the ball to keep up with anybody because they run the ball. And, I mean, you saw they kept Georgia off the field. I mean, I've never – like Georgia doesn't normally get beat the way they got beat by Notre Dame with just being able to be out ball controlled. Carson Beck in the game instead of Stockton. Maybe you get a different outcome. I don't know. So,
Which just blows me away. I mean, I understand Beck got hurt.
they're talking about him having to have Tommy John because of that.
So it's worse than what originally.
I heard on the radio the other day that that they thought that he might have to have Tommy John surgery.
I thought they were holding him out just because.
No, he's
Reason everybody else.
He's out.
Out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that could potentially hurt his draft stock.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If he's got to have Tommy John, does he still go? Does he stay?
Yeah, I don't know.
And if he decides to stay, does Kirby stick with him?
That's another, I don't know. He didn't have a great season.
No.
But I do think Carson Beck is a good quarterback. But he's like one of those guys that you take him in the NFL draft and you got to wait and see, right? So he's definitely not going to be – he probably doesn't get drafted in the top 2 rounds because anybody drafts a quarterback at those levels, they're probably going to expect them to play.
Right.
And if he's got Tommy John, then he's probably not playing at all in 2025. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
He'll play.
Of course,
on
they haven't
Sunday.
said for sure it's Tommy John, but, you know, Full Ride was talking like that. It could be he could have to do Tommy John.
Right.
So,
He'll play on Sunday. It may be
2026.
for Carolina in 2026.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Bryce Young has found his stride. Did you see him do the Steph Curry no-look touchdown the other day?
Not.
I mean, he stands in there and he throws it and then just turns around and puts his hands up like that before the dude ever caught the ball. I mean, dude, I feel I'm actually happy for Bryce Young because what he went through last year and earlier this year, you thought this kid's career is never going to go anywhere.
Here's the only problem in football with something like that, play like that. I have to remember all the way back to when I was in high school. We went to see, Daniel would have been in 8th grade. Dudley Hilton was coach of Bourbon. They were playing Lexington Catholic. Penalties had put Lexington Catholic in a hole like 25, 30 yards. Little screen pass. They get it out. Lexington Catholic wide receiver takes out. Safety catches him. The guy goes down, rolls onto the ground. As he comes back up, points like that, then looks over. He was about 5 yards short of the first down. He was dead set. And he does this little roll, and he comes up, and then he looks over, and he's, no, first down marker's up there, bub. It's 4th and 5.
That's pretty good. I know. We know that Wes does not like the first down call. He hates that. That's one of his.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. You know, the thing that gets me the most in these football games is when you get a good play and you celebrate, but you're 20 points down on the scoreboard. What the heck are you celebrating?
Right.
You ain't done nothing. You're losing by 20.
When you sit there and start doing that, I'm a dog.
Yeah.
And you're down 4 touchdowns. Are you
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
You just scored that against
Yeah, you're a dog underneath a big pile of crap.
You scored that against their practice squad. Did you really do anything?
Yeah, that's their third string. Oh, man. I don't know. That kind of stuff gets on my nerves. But
the one that gets me is the guys that celebrate on like these fluke plays where they know it's coming back. You didn't actually have a scoop and score. That was not an interception. You know that wasn't an interception, but they do the touchdown dance anyways. And then they just look at the officials when they're like, no, there's a flag. You're coming back. They look at the officials like, what do you mean? Dude, you know you were down. Don't get mad because I caught it. You knew you were down before you took off running.
yeah, no, I get that. And then dropping the ball before the goal line.
That's just unacceptable.
I saw somebody, I don't know who it was that tweeted it out. They tweeted out that last one when Jonathan Taylor did it. Someone literally tweeted out, has a white guy ever dropped a touchdown before they get to the end zone? And people were commenting. I was like, no, because most of them will take it and hand it to the ref, or some were like, well, not that many white guys scored touchdowns.
Well, this is true.
But, it's like,
Unless their name's
what are
Kelsey.
you doing? I mean, that is such a key play. Why are you trying to do that? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
And the thing is, the guys that do it, their football IQ is through the roof.
Yeah.
But yet, something common sense,
Yeah.
like making sure you're on that side of the white line. Make sure you cross the plane.
Take 2 more feet. If you drop it
one step.
If you drop it 1 step inside, it's the same result. I mean, who cares?
Right.
But I mean, like, you can change a game that way. It has literally happened that, because here's the thing. It's not like you get the ball on the 1 yard line. You fumble. If you drop that ball and it rolls into the end zone, it's a touchback and the other team gets the ball going back the other way at the 25.
Right.
It's not like I fumbled the ball out of bounds at the 1. We get the ball at the 1 and we'll score on the next play. No, don't work that way. So,
Well, and
unless you literally do fumble it out of bounds before it goes across the goal
right,
line.
and 90%,
But that never
of
happens.
90% of those they're dropping it. I don't know why they say 6-inch line. There isn't a line there, but normally you see them. They drop it where the commentators would call it the 6-inch line.
Right.
Well, that ball's going into the end zone.
Yeah.
Physics is going to take it in the end zone.
Yeah.
So it's 25-yard, negative 25-yard play.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right about that. You're right about that. So, all right, so we're getting ready to start the NFL playoffs. But before we get to talk about it, let's talk about incentives. There was two different types of incentive payouts that you saw highlighted this past weekend. One, Jerry Jones. Now, I will just preface this. He is saying that this is not why Cooper Rush didn't play. But Cooper Rush did not play Sunday, and by him not playing, he was unable to acquire his $250,000 bonus for snap plays on the season. So they played Trey Lance instead. Now, I mean, they competed with Washington. They ultimately wound up losing. But so he loses $250,000 because he doesn't play. On the reverse side of it, you've got Mike Evans going into the game needed 5 catches and 85 yards to unlock a $3 million bonus. And they've got the game in hand. They have the ball. All they have to do is kneel down and run the clock out. Instead, they figure out that Mike Evans needs 5 more yards to get to 85 yards. And they run a swing pass out to get him a play. And Baker throws it right to him. He runs up 5 yards and gets down. And like the Saints players, you could tell they knew what was on the line too. They weren't going to let him run for a touchdown, but they wasn't going to tackle him at the 3-yard mark. And so,
see, the competitive guy, I'm tackling him as soon as I see.
Look, a
a
lot of these guys' contracts are this way though.
Right.
You know, his actual salary might have been.
They expect.
Yeah.
The expect it to be reciprocated.
Yeah.
Words are very hard.
Yeah. So you know, we saw that happen back in the baseball season. The Pirates did it to two different guys. One, they completely just cut loose, and the other one, they benched for the last several games of the season so they couldn't unlock their bonuses and stuff. And I just think that's crappy. Look, don't put that bonus in there unless you intend to pay it.
Right.
Right? Now, I get it. If Mike Evans had went out in week 5 and got hurt and didn't play the rest of the season, okay. His streak is over, right? But he's playing. He should be able to get it. With 2 games left to go, he needed 1 touchdown, 11 catches, and 169 yards or something like that, and he wound up getting both of those.
Not even getting hurt. If he goes out and he's just in a slump,
yeah,
and you know it's on him if he's not coming to practice or he's doing something that he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
He's not putting in the work. But if he's putting in the work and coming to practice and putting in the work while he's at practice and all that, then it is your job as an owner, as an organization, to honor the contract.
Yeah. I saw something the other day that just to show you, like he's the second. He's got the second longest streak behind Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice had a 1,000-yard season 14 seasons in a row. He's at 11. I don't know that Mike Evans plays another 3 years to to do that. This just shows you what kind of freak that Jerry Rice was. But Justin Jefferson has broke 1,000 yards in each of his first 5 years. He's over 5,000 yards total in his 5 years, right? And they said that he could do that again for the next 10 years. He'd be 35 years old when he got to that point. Based on the averages that he's had, if they just repeat the 5 years every 5 years, he would still be like 3,000 yards short of Jerry Rice's record. I mean, it's like what Jerry Rice did is insane, and I don't know that we ever see that yardage mark broken. At 22,000, I don't know that it ever gets touched because he was playing into his 40s and still, like, good.
Speaking of Jerry Rice
Have
in
you
the
seen
NFL,
commercial?
is he the reason we're fat? Have you seen the commercial with Matthew McConaughey?
Because the commercials during football games try to sell you food.
Trying to steal your food?
Sell you
It's
food.
talking about the bus and Refrigerator Perry and all these names that are food. And Matthew McConaughey's telling this guy that it's football's the reason we're fat. And he's like, what do you think, Jerry Rice? And then
He asked
Jerry's
what
over
he's
there eating rice. And he turns to him and he says, see that? Jerry Rice eating rice.
I have not seen that commercial.
It is hilarious.
No, it's not Jerry Rice eating rice. He said, see that? Jerry is eating rice.
I laugh every single time.
I'll have to watch
It's
more for that.
hilarious.
So I've not paid attention to that one.
I'm not much on Matthew McConaughey, but
But that's funny.
What?
he just
He doesn't like all right.
What?
he's too
Yes, I
much.
just pulled off the Bill Cosby. What?
Okay, if you want to talk about where was he?
He wasn't at the game.
Where was he the other night? You talk about them barely scraping
I'm
by.
telling you,
It's because
that's
he didn't
why
show up.
They had such a crappy game.
Was he not there?
Didn't see
They
him.
never showed him. We watched the whole
always show
game.
him. They
That's
show
the only
him
reason
walking
Jessica
in.
watches.
They show him walking in like he's the freaking leader of the team or something. Like he's team captain.
I thought he was there.
I
I
didn't
cannot
see him.
imagine he
I
missed that.
searched. I know.
The Texas Kentucky game, he's standing right next to Sark calling plays.
He's always down
But
on
yet-
the sideline.
Yeah.
But yet, this weekend, he wasn't there.
Didn't see him. Not one
I didn't
time.
That's
see
why
that.
they struggle.
I'm telling you.
I didn't see that.
They played.
I even said it.
I
like,
want.
that's why
I
we're
want to
doing
see
stuff.
the stat. I'll have this stat before next week's show. What does Texas play like
When
when
Matthew's
he's
not
there
there.
versus when he's not there?
And that's probably out there somewhere on the Google.
Oh, I'm sure. I bet I could Google it right now. But I got the playoff bracket
Yeah.
pulled up.
So back to the playoffs. We have talked about in our chats about Detroit being decimated on their defense. And they kicked the absolute dog crap out of Minnesota the other night. Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and someone was like, if Justin Jefferson was 7'9", he would have had 8 touchdowns that game.
Mm-hmm.
He kept overthrowing them. And it's like, literally to the point that they were in the red zone so daggone much. If they scored touchdowns instead of field goals, Minnesota probably scores 40 points in that game. They couldn't do it. But the defense for the Lions, man, I tell you what, Aaron Glenn gets everything out of those guys. And that Anzalone dude comes back, and he was a game changer in that game. I mean, he got a game ball because of the play that he did. So, obviously the Bears aren't there. So, like, who are you going to root for, right? Anybody that plays against the Packers, I'll root for them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Time
I
out.
was gonna say those are fighting words.
What did you just say?
Anybody that plays against the Packers, I'll root for them.
I will smack your face.
I mean, you know as well as I do. The best stat of 2025, you know what that is? the Bears are undefeated and Caleb Williams is undefeated versus the Packers.
That's the only way the Bears are going to be undefeated.
Just saying.
And I told you, Mr. On Again Off.
Never lost in 2025.
Because they ain't never going to play
In August.
until August.
The Packers got to play the Eagles, right?
Well, that's what I was just
they're not winning that game.
I don't think so.
Did
That's gonna
Jordan
be
Love
hard
really
for
break
me.
his hand?
I haven't read one way or another. That's going to be hard for me because my favorite NFL team is the Packers, obviously. My second favorite team is probably the Eagles.
Oh, wait a minute. We can't have no second favorite teams because you all made it very clear on the Santa show. It's one team or nothing. You can't be having multiple teams.
You can't have multiple
Adam.
friends.
Well, Adam
West
says
Virginia,
that. and then
Colorado, Duke.
I'm always West Virginia. Unless
they lose.
Duke.
I don't know why I can't root for the Gators and Nebraska. I don't understand that.
In that game, it's go, Pack, go.
Hopefully, Jalen Hurts plays for the Eagles. Of course, it doesn't matter. They're 2-0 without him, so they played Tanner McKee and still won the other day. And without Barkley, too. That's how bad the Giants are, dude. So
Now, that's one when you talk about bonuses. Saquon, the thing you sent today was Saquon 13 yards short of 1,000. And
I don't think I sent that.
did you not send that to me?
No.
Or did I just see it? So he's 13 yards short of 1,000 yards.
He had 2,000 yards. Saquon did.
Well, it may be.
He come close to breaking Eric Dickerson's record. They didn't let him play this past week to break it.
It must have been earlier in the season. Anyways, it's him. It's him sitting on the bench.
Yes,
and
that was
the
his
coordinator.
That would have been his game career high. And he asked him if he wanted it, and he said, "Let the young
let him eat."
Yeah, it was earlier in the season.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was his career. But he wound up getting that later on, anyways.
Right. He
'Cause he
needed
had those
13 yards, and he's like, "Let him eat."
Yeah,
That was class.
yeah.
But
the Bucks got some help. They were going to be the 5 seed. Now they're the 3 seed because Seattle beat L.A. and L.A. got bumped down to the 5 seed. So now they play Minnesota, right?
LA's the 4.
The 4.
They still play Minnesota, but LA's the 4. Minnesota's the 5.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Washington's the 6.
So Washington
Bucks are
plays
the 3.
Tampa Bay at Tampa Bay,
Right.
and then Minnesota
Bay
goes
plays-
to L.A. I think
Minnesota goes
Minnesota
to
beats
LA.
the Rams.
I think so too. Green Bay plays at Philly.
That Washington Tampa Bay game could be a heck of a game. They could be 1,000 yards thrown in that game between those two quarterbacks.
And that's what's really gonna throw a wrench in the second round.
Yeah, because they reseed them.
If Washington beats Tampa Bay, then they'll go on to play the Lions, and that just based on what we were saying here, and that would put Minnesota playing Philly
At home. I mean,
home.
Minnesota would be at home, right? No, Philly would be at home.
Philly would be at home.
Yeah, because Minnesota is going to be on the road the whole time
Yes.
because of the losing to Detroit.
Yeah, because it's either going to be, well, I guess Minnesota, no.
If the Packers were
If
to
the
beat,
Packers beat Philly, then they play.
then Minnesota would go home.
So the only way Minnesota can get a home game, the Packers have to beat the Eagles.
And the Redskins have to beat the Bucks.
Redskins beat the Bucks. And Minnesota beats LA.
Yeah.
Then that would put the Packers would go to Detroit, and the Redskins would play Minnesota in Minnesota.
Yeah. Highly improbable that all of the
That's
lower
a
seeds
lot of
win.
stars to align.
Yeah.
Wait, and yeah, right there. If
But
all
then-
the lower seeds would have to win.
Yeah, and then you have the old first round bye struggles a lot of times, just like we just saw in the college football playoff.
Right.
You know, you get a team that's coming in hot. They just played last week. You know, which you wouldn't think it'd be that big a deal because teams have bye weeks throughout the season. But you know, sometimes teams get hot.
Momentum.
Yeah. So what's the AFC? You've got the Chiefs have got the 1 seed. Bills have got the 2 seed. Is that right?
You got the Bills at the 2, the Broncos at the 7, then the Ravens and Steelers is the 3-6 matchup, and then Texans Chargers is the 4-5.
I would think the Chargers win that game, but I could see the Texans win it. Stroud has not really played that well. I feel like the Chargers have the advantage there. I feel like that Lamar got that monkey off of his back with Pittsburgh because, I mean, they just beat the dog crap out of them 2 weeks ago at home, and they're going to be at home again because they're the 3 seed. Denver and Buffalo. Bo Nix, man, I tell you what, that kid is playing some really good football right now. That'll be a fun game. I think the Bills should be able to win that game. But, I mean, the Broncos have played well.
Similar scenario. Bo Nix pulls it off. He goes up against Patrick Mahomes the second week.
They almost beat him the first time.
But if that happens, I think they can. I think the Broncos can beat them. Because the Broncos have been playing good football lately. If that happens, and the Charger upset happens, then that puts Harbaugh v. Harbaugh in the second week.
They've done played once this year.
Yeah. But that's Harbaugh v. Harbaugh. The round 2 is to get into the AFC Championship. That's a little different. That's a little more pressure.
Yeah. That, let's see. They played earlier this season. The Chargers, let's see. The Ravens went to the Chargers and won that game 30-23.
Yeah. I remember watching that game. That was a good game.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of game I like seeing in the playoffs.
And then I'm just looking to confirm that I'm right about this. Kansas City has scored 30 points twice this season. They have not scored more than 30 points in any game. They've lost 2. They lost at Buffalo, 21-30, and they just lost to Denver, but they didn't play anybody. They literally was playing their backups.
Right.
So I'm just curious if Patrick Mahomes has another level.
And I understand that was nothing but the backups. But they got embarrassed.
Well, I mean, I can tell you this. Carson Wentz secured the fact he will never have another starting job. That is a fact. That dude will never have another starting gig. So,
But the thing is, Sean, he's been around for 150 years.
he's been around.
He's like
Flacco?
Flacco. There you go.
I wondered if that's what you were talking about.
I was having a brain fart. He's like Flacco. He never goes away. The only difference in him and Flacco is Flacco, at least, he had a peak. I don't know that Carson Wentz ever had a peak. In my opinion.
Just that 1 year before he tore his, was it his Achilles or is it? I don't know. He got hurt, and after that, he was done.
I mean, Flacco up until the Ravens.
That might have been the year. That was the year that he got hurt, and they wound up winning the Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
Right.
Nick Foles come in and filled in for him.
Flacco had a good long run with Baltimore.
Yeah.
Where he was a threat. Wentz never had that.
Yeah. Breaking news: Antonio Pierce has been relieved of his duties by the Raiders. That one kind of shocked me. I thought they would keep him.
Mm-hmm.
So he got 1 year. Gerard Mayo got fired after 1 year. Doug Peterson, didn't he get fired?
I think so. I believe so.
Yeah. Bears already had an opening. I think there's like 5 or 6 gigs right now. There wasn't as many that they thought. You know, a lot of people thought that they might fire Shane Steichen in Indianapolis. A lot of people thought that Brian Dable might get fired in New York, but he didn't. Oh, the Jets has got an opening as well.
Did you see the Irsay letter? He's all in. He said that you cannot. The season, the Cliff Notes version of it. The season didn't go the way we wanted it to, but don't blame the coaching staff. Blame us in the front office, and we will get him better equipment to work with. So, we'll see.
They went 8-9. They were competitive in a lot of games, but they bounced back and forth between Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco, and Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco, and some of that had to do with injury, some of it didn't. Still a mystery as to why Anthony Richardson tapped himself out of the game on a game-winning or in the red zone basically. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Is New England going to take your boy Vrabel?
I find it hard to believe that they would have fired Mayo and not hire Vrabel.
Vrabel is the only name I heard.
Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel are the only two.
48
Apparently, the Patriots and the Bears are the only two teams that that Johnson is interested in. What I don't understand is why are the Bears interviewing 18 people? Like every time I open up Twitter, it's somebody else they've requested. They want to interview Mike McCarthy. Like, what in the hell are they doing?
They're trying to maintain their reputation as the Bears.
Well, they're doing that would be the way to do it. That's why I've maintained that I will not answer the Christmas or the.
There goes the siren.
About time. I was beginning to wonder.
2 sets.
I will not answer the Santa Claus or the Dear Santa challenge until after a coach is hired. If I am satisfied with the coaching hire, then the Bears will maintain my fandom. If they bear this up, that's a 4-letter word you can use safely, then I'm out. Now, where am I going to go? Couldn't tell you.
There's something big going on.
Haven't
That's 5 cops. The
haven't
last 3 didn't have
haven't
lights.
considered it. I really have not considered it. Jaden Daniels and the Redskins are in consideration. I don't know how maroon and gold really looks on me. Don't have a lot of maroon and gold. So I don't know. I'm not just going to jump on the Chiefs bandwagon because I'm about done with them.
I was done with the Chiefs a long time ago.
I'd like to see the Bills win. Wouldn't mind seeing Saquon Barkley win, but I'm not really an Eagles guy. Green is definitely not one of my best colors. I can handle it. So, I don't know.
The views and opinions as Sean Kiper sits in front of Menifee Green
Right.
That's different.
are
We're talking
personal
NFL.
and do not represent that of the front corner.
We're talking about the NFL.
It is different green. It's not Kelly green. It's
Yeah.
turquoise
Yeah.
or teal.
What is?
Eagles green. What do you call it?
I wouldn't call it teal.
It is teal. It's
No.
bluish green.
It's a darker green than this, so it's more like a hunter green.
No, I'm looking at it right there. It's teal.
That teal around the eagle, yeah.
That's their logo, Sean.
I know, but I'm just saying that like it would be considered green, but it's a darker green.
Philadelphia Eagles. Images. That is as teal can teal.
Well, I mean, you could be
That
a tad
uniform,
bit colorblind.
this uniform right here is a little darker than that.
Yeah, that's their 1980s.
That's their throwback.
Yeah,
But what are their main uniforms? White and teal. White and teal. Black with teal trim.
is he colorblind, Jessica?
I am when it comes to
I might be
blue,
the only
green.
one in this room that's not colorblind. That is the same color as her car, which
Babe,
is
it's green.
teal.
That's about.
It's green.
That looks green to me. I'd almost call that hunter green.
No, it's teal. And
Okay,
if you ask
hey,
Jessica, it's
technical-
blue. And if you ask Chick-fil-A and Hamburg, it's
technical
gray.
Color, midnight green, silver, and black are their colors.
Midnight green.
You can go get
That
it.
doesn't mean it's not
You
teal.
can get it. Valspar
Teal
has
is
the
green.
color. You can get it.
Valspar has the
You
color.
can paint your room that.
Teal is green.
By the way,
It's
I
bluish
love the throwback weekend with all the throwback colors.
I do.
Yeah. The Broncos need to stick to the 1980s version. The Eagles need to stick to their version. I think the Commanders are getting ready to be the Redskins again. So
Is that official yet?
no, but I think it's coming.
Well, I know the tribe has filed a lawsuit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of this crap happened because of, white people were offended by it.
I know. They didn't ask the Indians.
Just like the
Now-
Land O'Lake, the Land O'Lake the Indian was taken off of the Land O'Lake butter.
Now, let me ask you this.
Aunt Jemima's coming back. Did you
Yep.
know that?
The Redskins changed their name back. How long is it before Cleveland changes back?
I bet they don't.
You don't think they will?
No, nobody's raising the cane over that.
No, but I think if
The Redskins is because of that specific logo of the chief. I can't think of what his
I
name
can't
is.
remember the name either.
I want to say Chief Wahoo, but that's Cleveland Indians in the Major League movie.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. If the Redskins change it back and the Cleveland fan base sees that it can be done,
Yeah, they might.
do they put up enough stink?
They might.
And all this stuff starts to reverse.
I'm glad all the rest of them didn't do it. Like, I'm glad the Braves didn't do it, and the Bradley Braves, and I'm glad none of those others succumbed to the pressure to do that. My question is, are they going to start putting all the statues back up that they ripped down and stuff?
No, they've already destroyed them.
Yeah, that's just.
You got all these historical statues. Some of them were preserved. But
stupid.
Most of them were destroyed.
So stupid. What a dumb country we were in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general. Just really, really dumb.
Mm-hmm. Especially in November.
Yeah. We made a lot of mistakes. So, all right, you got anything else, Wild Man?
I got nothing.
I thought of another Southern Indiana regional wrestling tag team name earlier. Aches and Pains.
Lame.
Is that going to be us instead of Nature's Nightmares?
I don't know. Was you... You're in the Dynasty Baseball chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that the other day? Where
I think so.
one of the new guys was asking if Neil was
the
still
text chat or the
text chat, yeah. The doubt chat, yeah.
Yes.
So one of the new guys asked the other day if Neil was still a professional wrestler, because when he was in the CBS league with me, we told them that he was a professional wrestler. And I went right into it, and I was like, absolutely. And Neil goes, yeah. He goes, my surname is Tony the Muscle Martin. And he said, I'm the champion of Southern Indiana Regional Wrestling. And I said, yeah, he just beat the Phantom. Or I said, he just beat Phantom for the title. And I said, it was a no-holds-barred match. And I said, Nature's Nightmares got involved or tried to get involved, but he was able to hold them off with the help of Chris the Truth Martin or something like. I don't remember exactly who I made up, but it was so funny, and they were like, "Man, that's really cool."
Nature's Nightmares tried to help him out, but they both fell coming down the ramp, and now they go by Aches and Pains.
Their music is out, ooh, ow, oh, my leg, oh, my knee, oh, my back.
Well, we could play Walla Walla Bing Bang when we come out.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, on that note, we will bid you farewell. Until next time.
Stay safe, friends.